Hello friends, in the last video we have seen how to connect to Mongo database and how to create data and how to fetch data from that Mongo database. And in this video we are going to make our application good on the basis of folder structure, and we will use template engine EJS to create our template, and we will serve those HTML pages, basically EJS pages, to the front end for login registration purpose. So let's start with this one by moving the Mongo database URL. So first thing will be to remove or clean our app.js. So let's create a folder inside our project folder, and then we will move our Mongo URL to that. So create that one. It should be config, and inside config we will create the file db.js. Now let's use this one because we will going to export something from here. So basically the URL, so take that one from our app.js file and cut it from here and move it to here, and then we'll basically going to use this Mongo URL from this file to our app.js. Now use the db connection into this mongoose.connect section. So that's it for this one, and let's check. Okay, our app is up and running, so we are good. Now next thing would be to move our routes from this file to the other folder structures. So let's create a folder, say routes, and then inside that we will move our all the routing logic from app.js. So basically app.js will be clean. So this is the entry file for our application, and this should be clean as much as possible. Let's create the routes folder, and inside this we will create our index route. So let's name it index.route.js, and this will basically handle all the route configurations. So let's copy all the routing from here and move this to our routing file. In this file also we will need express and express.router, so import that one and create the router constraint. Use express.route, and then finally we are going to export that route from this module. Now let's cut all the route configuration from app.js and paste it here, and instead of app.get we will use now router.get and router.post. Now we don't need this user object here in app file, instead we need this one in the index route. So let's copy this one. Basically going forward in later steps we'll move this one to another controller file, but for now keep it here. Time to import the file in the app file in our main.js file. So let's do that one, and then we will create middleware to access all the routes. And currently we have all the route configuration in a single file. So in case we have user, we have products, we will have categories. In that case we would like to divide it in different controllers. So let's create a folder controller, and inside that one let's create a folder for our user route. So create the file user, then let's name it user controller.js, and then we can move our configuration for user specific configuration basically to this folder. Here let's create some simple functions using already available functions. Just copy this one, but this will be just a constant. So request and response to get the user, and simply copy and paste, basically cut and paste these lines of codes into our new file. And like same, we'll create the function for add user, and we'll cut and paste the code from there. Here we need the user object also. We are using this one. this user object to save the data in MongoDB and to get the data from the already saved database. So let's keep this one. And finally, in the export module.export section, make this function available to the other files. And now here we can just import that file. So remove the user objects not required now. Instead, import the newly created file here, and we will just use that one in the get and post API endpoint. This is much better now, and it is working perfectly. And the last step is to create the view folders and serve the HTML file from the server to frontend. To do this one, we are going to use EJS as template engine, and we will also use Express layout to give the data through a layout file. So we will install the EJS and also will install the Express layout. Then simply use the middleware as express.use layout and also set the view engine to EJS. With this, here is our view folder. We have the layout EJS and for now login EJS. Let's create a simple form for login and registration. Just copy it from the W3 schools and I'm going to paste the content in our EJS file and we'll change the name as per our requirement. Just one thing to keep in mind that whatever content we'll have in this file will pass through layout.js. So basically the bootstrap file, the CSS file included in the layout.ejs file, and in the body content we have a placeholder. So every content will be placed inside that placeholder. So we will every time render the layout.js, and layout.js will have the content of each view file, in this case login or registration EJS file. Okay, after doing all these changes, this is how the login page look like, and we will have the same registration page for the registration and login. Now we may have our custom CSS file, JS file to include in our file. So let's create a public folder and we can keep our CSS JS file inside that folder. For now, I'm going to create one style.css file and then we'll serve that file as a static resource. Now we will place our CSS file here in the layout.ejs file, but this will not be available while serving until we mark the public folder as static. So as you can see, we have this one, but if we try to access, it is not available. This is due to that server configuration. We have to mark public folder as static. So let's do this. Now after this configuration, try to refresh this page and let's see the source of this page. This file should be accessible now. So let's create one more endpoint for registration page, and we'll also create the registration page by copying the code from login. So this will also have a form and this will have simple registration form. That's it. So this is our registration page and this is our login page. I also added the navbar section, and that will basically have the bootstrap default navbar, which will